Hey, gang. Someone confirm that we're in fact live and that you can hear us. Live. Sweet. Awesome. Hey, everyone. I'm Zach. We're right on the bay. This... A lot of laughs is his first name, but he goes by George online sometimes. Oh, George is muted. Uh-oh. How about now? Wait. Try it again.
I'm loud of laughter, George.
Okay.
Zach's trying to take the spotlight.
All right. Thanks, guys. That was my bad. Sometimes I just have them muted. All right, cool. Anyways, thanks for joining us. So really quickly, what is this? This is going to be our first bi-weekly pre-order update. Bi-weekly is going to be every other week as opposed to twice a week. It is Jorge Swingful, but I don't pronounce it correctly, so we just call him George. It's probably not that important that I address that right now.
It was the pressing question that everyone had. Thank you.
So bi-weekly pre-order update. One of the things that kind of set Keycult apart a little bit is this year is that we sold ready to ship items, but we weren't able to meet demand doing that, so we switched to this limited pre-order thing, and we want to make sure that people joining our pre-orders have as good of an experience as possible, hopefully just as good or almost as good as buying something that's ready to ship. And we think a part of that is updates and transparency and accountability and making sure that people know what's going on and can be kind of a part of the process. So we're going to be doing these updates. We've chosen to do them live on Twitch so that we can be more accountable, give people a chance to ask questions that we maybe haven't thought of, or berate us for doing a bad job, or whatever you want to do. But that is the goal. So I'm going to go through sort of all of our projects, and then we will open it up to some questions. If you want to put in a question and make sure that we don't miss it, if you go to twitter.com/keycultio, all one word, our most recent post, reply to it, and then we will make sure that we actually get to your question at the end. Cool beans. So the update. So the first thing is the number 2 Rev 1 pre-order. So this ended a little while ago. The main components are cases and PCBs, and then there's other kind of peripheral things. Production already started before the pre-order actually completed. Remember that we are buying 150 cases, and we only did pre-orders for 75. We actually started production before the pre-order actually completed. So machining is already started, and that is well on its way. I am personally visiting Shenzhen and the manufacturer in early September to do some in-person QC. It's also going to be my first time visiting them, which will be really cool. It's a manufacturer that I've been working with since 2017, so it'll be cool to meet them. So cases are in production. Everything seems to be going well. But that's all I really have for that. PCBs, we ordered PCBs quite a while ago, actually, and production on them has finished, and we are just awaiting shipping. So PCBs are done, and we will then have more PCBs up on the shop. For people who are waiting, who got into our original number 160 or 165 and wanted extra PCBs, we also have 60% and 65% PCBs coming with this PCB order. So those will
Finally.
those will be up on the shop pretty soon. We are doing brand new packaging for the number 2 Rev 1. That packaging is in various stages. So we're waiting production of some bits and samples for others. I promise that you won't have to wait on packaging to get your keyboard. The packaging will be done with plenty of time to spare. Everything is actually going to be packed. Well, not entirely packed, but we're going to do more packing in Shenzhen actually, and then when things come to us, we'll do a partial unboxing, do our QC, do some final packing, and then actually ship everything out. Our current sort of delivery estimate for everything for the number 2 Rev 1 is sometime in October. That could change if there are QC issues that require that parts be remade, if there are issues like things being imported getting stuck in customs or something like that. None of that is really a danger to the pre-order, but it could cause us to shift back that timeline a little bit. But right now we're hoping for sometime in October for actually delivering those boards. So that's that. The next thing is the Rama X Keycult brass and black enamel keycaps. So this is a open pre-order. Unlike the actual keyboard, this one is unlimited. This is the last weekend to buy it. It's going to close on Monday night. George just linked it in chat. It's also, if you just go to keycult.io, it's just linked from the homepage. I don't yet know an exact estimate for production at this quantity, but we'll post more info when we have it. I expect it'll probably be a couple of months. The reason that we didn't launch this alongside the number 2 Rev 1 is because we don't control production on this. I'm not super, ultimately production is sort of out of our control. We're going to hand this off to Rama and their team after the pre-order finishes, and then when I have more information from them, I will pass it on to everyone who joined. So don't have an exact estimate for that, but as soon as we know something, everyone else will. Our release schedule. So on our actual site, keycult.io/schedule, we have posted a tentative release schedule. And some people have noticed that everything has been pushed back. These are our first pre-orders, and the original schedule was sort of like a best case scenario. This was assuming everything went well, there weren't any design issues, there weren't any delays in prototyping or samples or anything like that. So everything was pushed back. The schedule reflects that now. In general, please treat this schedule as extremely tentative. I added some new text up to the top to kind of make that more clear. But this is an estimate. As we do more pre-orders, we'll get better at estimating. I almost sort of wish that we hadn't attached a month to each individual thing, because it's I think going to prove in the long run hard to hit that, but we're going to do our best. So treat it more as a general timeline, plus or minus, like maybe a month or so, or a couple of months for some things, and then that'll show you the order of releases at least. So right now we're doing the number 2 Rev 1. Our next pre-order is going to be for the number 160, followed by the number 165. Followed by a rerun of the number 1 revision 1, but with some different finish options, and in particular a brass version that we didn't offer in the first place. So that is a quick update on our schedule. A random upcoming thing, just kind of a cool random announcement. This is just like a weird thing that we decided to try. On Saturday, August 31st, we are going to be doing a special stream in honor of the World of Warcraft Classic launch. So we'll post more on this, but if you are interested in WoW at all, or maybe want to do some on-stream gaming with us or anything like that, keep an eye out. We'll post more about that, but yeah, we're gonna have some cool keyboard and gaming related stuff for that. Alliance or Horde is a good question.
That's a great question.
Undecided.
We don't have any ties to either side at this point.
I was Alliance back in the day during my misspent youth, so we'll see what happens this time. Oh, the August 31st will be the Paris meetup. Interesting. Okay, well maybe we'll adjust the date. If there is going to be another like big conflict there, but regardless, keep an eye out for that. It's going to happen sometime, probably at the end of this month. And that's it. That is the kind of entire update. Those are our current ongoing projects. And so now we will open it up for a brief Q&A. So
there is one question that's actually pretty good on Twitter. Well, there's only one question on Twitter, and it happens to be pretty good. Is there a specific reason why you chose to use Poron gaskets over sorbethane? Also, what's the reason between using 1.5 millimeter thick gaskets? And so I'm also curious.
So Poron is specifically designed for vibration damping. There's pretty cool videos online showing drop tests with Poron, dropping things onto Poron. One big reason is that sorbothane is, if you've ever used it before, it's super malleable, super stretchy. I think it would be really hard to install those gaskets. It also doesn't compress very much. That's not true. It does compress, but our gaskets compress by a very considerable amount, by 50% actually, which is pretty optimal for the type of material and for what we're trying to get, which is vibration damping. Sorbothane does a really good job of damping sound when you like put it into an open case. But I think that it might just be awkward or difficult to use in the way that we use gaskets. I think it would be pretty hard to cut. I've also heard, it could be water jet cut, I think, but it might be a little imprecise. If you've ever dealt with a sheet of sorbothane, you maybe know what I mean. It's like a pretty awkward material. And as Dixie says, sorbothane is for sound absorption. So I don't know if pressed against something, whether it would have the properties that you want, whereas this is explicitly what Poron is made for. So anyways, that's the reason why we're using Poron instead of sorbothane.
All right, so Rockin' Kingdom asks when our next release for our keyboard is, and I've linked in chat the schedule, our tentative schedule for keyboard releases. So the next new keyboard pre-order is coming somewhere in September, and then we're going to be delivering in late October the current number 2 Rev ones, and there will be there'll be 2 other chances to purchase them, one through raffle and one through Victory auction.
Custom 3 says, any plans to explore other layouts in the future? Yes, definitely. Probably not this year, but in 2020, definitely, yeah.
Dixie Mac asking the hard questions.
Yeah.
Why do we artificially limit units to raise our hype? Well, we didn't think anyone noticed, so I guess the cat's out of the bag.
Yeah. Shoot.
The real answer is that we don't limit units. The only reason why we're not running thousands of something is because we're 2 guys with very little warehousing experience and fulfillment experience. So it's really rough to get to that point without growing organically, and because you're going to run into problems that you have no idea what they are at this moment. So if we ever do a large giant run, any sort of optimizations that we do will be our best guess. And we don't love guessing on this stuff. So we want to keep it really within the realm of possibility for us and grow as much as we feel comfortable growing. And we have been growing. Like this last run was more keyboards than we have made combined. So we're growing as much as we comfortably can. And we will continue to grow as time goes by.
Secret IXI asks how many units are usually available for pre-order. So we've only ever done 1 pre-order, and for this 1 pre-order, we had 75 units available, but we're actually making an additional 75 for 150 total.
Semi Chug asks if there is going to be a number 260 or 65.
No comment.
No comment.
That's the official.
Neither conform.
The official comment is none.
Yeah. We have nothing to add there.
Yeah.
Maybe. So the reason why Demon AHZ.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So I guess like why publish a best case scenario in our schedule versus a more conservative scenario, and I get that, and maybe the reason is sort of inexperience and being naive, and sort of like that was our best guess at the moment, and maybe that was sort of optimistic best case scenario. We thought it was like a good best case scenario. So like we said, like we're gonna get better at estimating as we do pre-orders. And things will change because we're not perfect and we're growing. No, I didn't take it as criticism, but I do agree that it was something that like we needed to kind of say that like, hey, this was kind of our best guess at the moment, and it wasn't like us trying to put out like an optimistic schedule for the sake of putting out an optimistic schedule. And I appreciate the question.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like it's sort of based on the information we had at the time. So if we were to say anything else at the time, it would have just been like it would have been literally just padding the timeline arbitrarily, um, which maybe is the right thing to do. But then that feels like we wouldn't want to catch people unaware if we did hit that target.
Yeah. And kind of we always err on the side of transparency when we can. Like we want to keep people on the same footing as so like when we tell people like something, it's usually as much as we know. And I feel like we would just maybe it was better, but like it would have been sort of slightly disingenuous for us to be like, well, we're giving ourselves breathing room. So I kind of like just letting people know what we know when we can.
For the number 165, will it be 75 for pre-order also? That's undecided. We have not decided on any future quantities yet. So it depends on a bunch of things. We'd like to, for the foreseeable future, continue like buying a very significant number of extras. So the reason that we buy so many extras, the reason we're buying like we're placing an order for twice as many units as we sell in a pre-order, is to ensure that anyone who comes in on a pre-order gets one of our like A stock boards. And like so we want to make sure that that's the case. So that means that we need to be able to pay for at least as many boards as we sell in a pre-order, and that's going to somewhat limit at the moment. That's going to somewhat limit our the quantity that we want to run. It might be possible that we can do more for the 160 and 165 because it's a cheaper board to manufacture than the number 2.
We'll send GG asks, is there a reason for only polycarbonate half plates and not full plates for the number 1 or for the number 2 Rev 1?
Not a very good reason. We might end up selling extras of the full plates like closer to when we are ready to fulfill, and people can add them on and then get them included in their order. We'll see. It seems like there's possibly enough interest. My impression was that half plates would just generally be more popular, but seems like people really liked the full plates from the number 1 Rev 1. So we'll see. What are you guys typing on right now? I'm typing on this. It's a number 1 revision 1, dark navy and silver with GMK Hamon.
Oh man, I wish you hadn't done the reveal, because do I want to show people this proto?
Go for it.
All right, so I am typing on.
Actually, I don't know. Wait. Which one are you showing? All right, you go for it. Go for it. Whatever.
I mean, I have to do it now. So I am typing on this polycarbonate number 2 with a very amazing color, and I'm really digging it. So this is the first view. This is the
unplanned, very likely to bite us in the ass
reveal.
We're not sure that we're going to be able to run this because it's the reason I'm so uncomfortable is because I'm not sure we're going to be able to run this because QC is really going to be hard for it. This particular, especially because of the difficulty of manufacturing the top piece of the number 2, they had to like I think they did 6. I think they had to make the top 6 times before it. Yeah, you can see regretting this. So, anyways, so that's the thing that just happened. We have to scroll back to see some other questions. Let's move on.
Yeah. So
that's funny.
There was a good question before.
I have one. Will we see classic stainless options in the future? Not on a 10 key list. For the number 2, probably not on the number 2 10 key list. We kind of advertise that as explicitly limited. We'll probably keep it that way.
Yeah, we really want to keep the silver and stainless steel sort of number 2 10 key list sort of on its own. Sorry, I have to scroll up. Um,
Curious about your subjective opinions out of the various combinations of Keycult boards, plate types, switch types, etc. that you tried. Which is your favorite? I actually really digging the board that I'm typing on right now. Great, good. Someone clipped it. That's important.
Excellent.
So I'm really digging the one I'm typing on right now. The number 1 Rev 1. It has a brass plate and ink switches. Inks are really nice. They sound really great. They're really smooth. I'm really enjoying inks in particular. And I like brass plate sound. Although I do think that poly half plates are quite nice.
Yeah, I really like that board too, but I'm particular to silent switches. And I personally, my favorite board of all time is my OG number 1. It's a brass board. And I really like it. And they're silent blocks, and they're really good. And it was made by Ride on the Bay himself as a birthday gift to me because he's a really good friend.
That's true. We do live near each other. We live about 10 minutes away from each other. Oh man. Let's see. Have we gotten any other Twitter questions? Are there any questions that we missed? Does anyone have other questions?
We haven't gotten any other Twitter questions. How do we become ordained members of the Keycult? If you have to ask, then it's just you have to find out on your own. You have to deserve it by finding out. Do we have any plans for ISO support?
No, but it's something that I'm thinking about a little bit. So PCBs that are possibly compatible with Keycult boards are being made. So Keycult keyboards are using kind of a new standard for PCBs, which is JST connectors connected to a USB-C daughter board, or just a daughter board in general. I think there are a number of other PCB designers other than Wilba who are working on PCBs that may end up being compatible with our boards. And if you can find a PCB that works, that has ISO support, we release our plates. And so you can either modify the plate or work with someone to modify the plate, and then you can have ISO support. It's kind of unlikely that we end up adding it ourselves because I think I think that for the I don't want to get too far into the debate, but I rather keep the experience as good as possible for the large majority of people that use ANSI, and it's just generally more pleasant to build fixed ANSI PCBs and plates than it is universal ones.
So Bart the Bowman asked, if there are more than 75 A stock boards, will the other be auctioned off or be able to be bought? So we do expect that there would be more than 75 A stock boards, and there's going to be a portion of those that are going to go to the Vickery auction, and then there's going to be a portion of those that are going to go to a second A stock B stock raffle. They're not all going to be Vickery auction. The majority of the boards will be sold via raffles. The vast majority of the boards will be sold via raffle.
We missed a question from Polyjou, I think. Have you ever considered selling individual components? For example, different colored bases for the number 2. It's something that we've considered. I don't think it makes sense until we have a lot more boards out there. So maybe at the point where we've just made a lot more boards such that there's like a market for swapping out components, we could have a bunch of random colors made and like put them up on the store and sell them separately. But it doesn't really make sense while there's just like generally so few people who, like, still relatively very few people who even own a board made by us. So if we were to buy, a bunch of parts, the market wouldn't be that big for it. So it wouldn't really make sense yet.
We definitely thought about it though. Definitely in the radar.
Why no plans for hot swappable PCBs? We didn't say that. I actually don't like. I'm not like against hot swappable PCBs. It's just not something that we have available that we're doing right yet. I am one of the reasons, for instance, that we work so closely with Teha is because from Teha Types is because he does a really good job of bringing new people into the hobby, and I think he in general is expanding the hobby and expanding the market, and that's really good for us and other vendors, and I think just in general is healthy. And so that potentially means people who don't have soldering experience but who maybe want to buy one of our boards. And so for them, hot swappable PCBs might be useful. There are also people who just prefer hot swappable PCBs who are like veterans of the hobby, because they don't perceive a huge difference. And so I haven't personally tried hot swappable PCBs on Keycult keyboards. They might sound be exactly the same, but be a lot more convenient. So we'll see.
Yeah,
it's something that it's not something that we've discounted. It's just
it's just not something that we can do right now.
Yeah.
Like there's just like so much. We're only 2 people. There's a lot on our plate, and there's only there's limited bandwidth as to like how much we can do. We maybe release an ISO plate file like Wilbo with thermal. We do release our plate files, and if anyone wants to like modify them and make an ISO plate or whatever, then they're welcome to. We just don't.
I mean, if a compatible ISO PCB shows up, then maybe I'll make an ISO plate and release the file so that people can just like get it cut, through like there's like a few water jet cutting or laser cutting services that you can get online just to like make plates that other people have used in the past. So maybe we'll do it if there ends up being a PCB that supports ISO that works with our cases.
Hebo Burrito asks if we have considered doing other mount types between gasket mount in the near future, maybe top or sandwich.
So I'd say that this is me being a little pedantic. I'd say our current mount is sandwich, and that it so Upas says they just did leaf spring, so that doesn't like I would describe our current mount type as sandwich, and it uses gaskets for vibration damping and acoustic properties. Maybe we'll consider doing other mount types, but not really. I'm pretty happy with the recipe that we have at the moment. And there are a lot of other people doing those other types of things. And so, I don't think that Keycult keyboards are going to be for everyone. There are certainly people who prefer top mount to our mount. But that's totally fine. And for them, there are a ton of options out there, and those options are only increasing.
I missed the question. Swangful asks, is the surge in popularity surprising / overwhelming? I will say yes. Like at every turn, like people's kind of support and interest in our stuff has kind of blown us away. And if you guys were in my living room every single time like we have a sale or anything, like you would just kind of beforehand we always do like a bet, not really like a bet, but it's more of like a how many people do you think are going to sign up for this, and it's always way more than we think, and we like always super appreciate everyone's support, and we're consistently blown away time after time by everyone and their interest in our stuff. It's really
Demon HZ, Demon Oz. Do you have any plans or intention to scale up a bit so you can cover a bigger chunk of people interested in Keycult? Yes, definitely. This last release, the number 2 Rev 1, is already a huge scale up for us. We released 80 number 1 Rev 1s, and we're making 150 of this release.
Yeah, this last release that we just did pre-orders for is nearly twice as many boards as we have sold previously, period. So it's like we're doing.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is, because we've sold.
So we had 80 plus 40 plus 20.
I did math really poorly there.
Okay. But it is more. We're having more boards produced right now than we have sold yet.
I apologize for my terrible math.
I forgive you, but I don't know.
Let's move away from my glaring error, and Hesu or V Hesu asks, what keyboard case behind you on the bookshelf riot?
This guy here. This is a old original #1 prototype. I keep it as a reminder of how bad prototypes can be. It is awful, truly, truly awful.
And Weatherby asks, talk about your creative process. How many Rev 3 ideas are on the cutting floor? And number 3. Zach can talk more about this in general, but there's a lot of things that end up on the cutting floor that we've sort of like. There's a lot of things that like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if, or would be awesome, especially for me because I'm not the Zach is their designing force behind everything. So I'm like every so often I go up to Zach and be like, what if we had a keyboard that also doubled as a plane? And he's like, that's really hard and you're an idiot. But like, there's a lot of ideas that we've had, and I know that there's a lot of ideas that Zach has designed that just don't ever see the light of day because of some issue. And Zach can definitely speak more to that question.
I mean, yes, that's yeah. I think it's a little too much to go into like what the creative process is, but usually it starts with some sort of primary concept, and then I go from there. So take some concept and use that as the kind of driving force for designing a case. And yes, I have quite a few kind of, I wouldn't say they're necessarily on the cutting floor. They're still ideas that I like, but I haven't quite had a breakthrough yet in terms of turning it into a case that I would want to sell. Good.
J Word Fish asks, what are the main logistical roadblocks to scaling your production?
Money, QC, fulfillment, packing. So space. I mean, space. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of logistical roadblocks. We're already,
and also like stuff we don't know.
Yeah. I mean, we're already like, given that this is now twice, we're about to sell, like we're manufacturing and then are about to sell twice as many keyboards as we had previously. We're already making some changes to the way that we do things in order to make that possible. I don't know, like maybe these changes that we're making will help us scale to way more, but I don't really know.
Yeah. And space is also a really big issue, like just in general. Like we work out of my house, and it's like, we have like 3 rooms out of my house sort of. And so if we get, huge, then we would need to like potentially like rent out a warehouse space, and how much money is that going to be? So there's just a lot of consideration. And we also don't want to like rent out a warehouse space and then realize that we rented out something that's too small and then have to like move again. And so I feel like growing up organically and like knowing what we don't know is a better way of scaling than just being like, well, we can definitely sell X many keyboards, so let's sell as many as we possibly can. Because that's going to run into roadblocks, and that's going to run into mistakes that are then we're going to pass down to our customers, and our customers aren't going to be happy with that. So we're trying to keep the customer experience as positive as possible. And part of that is, biting off as much as we can chew.
Polyjou asks, are colorways offered during each of your releases intended to be specific for that release? Seems like each release offers something different in comparison to your previous releases. Yes, essentially yes. It's unlikely that we re-release colorways. We release our releases so far have very minimal configuration, and that is because just the way that we've chosen to run Keycult, like the thing we've chosen to focus on is quality. And in order to have really good QC, you like basically need a lot of the same thing to ensure that you can make good cases out of the parts that you get. So because of that, there are still lots of colorways that I think would be really cool that we haven't run. So I don't really see a reason to like revisit old colorways. Maybe we do, like maybe we revisit some things, like for instance, like for the number 160 and 165, we sold like a dark gray and brass, and we sold 5 of them. It's possible that at some point in the future, with a different revision of that board, we have like a similar colorway available, just because it was such a small number. But for the number 1 Rev 1, for instance, the dark navy and silver, and the black and gold, it's unlikely that we'll run that again.
Um, Adrian Kukic says, do you guys think that the exclusivity of the brand will go down if you start to produce more massively, thus lowering market hype and desire status of our board? I guess maybe, and it's also not something that we're too concerned about. And we are firm believers that we think the market is growing. And I don't think that us selling more necessarily means that we're going to saturate the market, given the numbers that we're able to sell. So maybe, and it's sort of like trying to optimize for a problem that we don't necessarily have right now. Like the problem that we do have at the moment is that we're not selling enough keyboards, and that's sort of what we're trying to solve. And if we ever run into the problem that we feel like our
like we
then we'll
can't
solve
sell
that.
keyboards, like if we run into the problem where we can't sell, like our goal is to turn this into a sustainable business, doing a thing that we really enjoy and making a thing that people really love. And so like if we can do that, and so long as we can do that, then we're happy, and we're not there yet.
Yeah.
So if we get to the point where we can't sell enough keyboards in order for Keycult to be sustainable for various reasons, then maybe we'll like maybe we'll change things up in some way.
Functional, awesome the way he spells it. Would you ever consider making an ortho board? And this other question, it's more of like a statement, also kind of ties into that, is like please create a 40 to 50% board. I know they're different, but I guess it kind of lumps into that.
Not currently planned, but I wouldn't discount anything. It's not something that I use, but so I've never used ortho layouts before. I'm really happy with my brutish staggered layout. So I feel a little weird designing things that I wouldn't personally use. That it seems like not a great idea. I feel like right now the people designing ortho boards are they're designing something for themselves, and that shows. And so I think that there's I don't know. It feels like maybe at some point we will. If there's just such a big market for it, there's so many people asking for it. Maybe I can adapt one of our layouts to ortho. But I don't currently have plans for it, and I would say that it's not extremely likely.
Bart the Bowman asks, would you guys be open to potentially making high-end mouse mats like the Rama canvas? We were thinking about doing other things besides keyboards, like peripherals, like desk mats and other things. It's not, we haven't, started any serious anything. So, but it's definitely like in the future, to do these like side things, for sure.
Yep.
We have a second, well, Dixie tells us that he loves us on Twitter, and we love you too, Dixie. You're really nice.
Sweet.
And Guy asks again on Twitter. He thanks us for answering the last one, and he asks about the flex cuts and what our takes are on the change, and does it have a noticeable improvement on the change in feel?
I mean, yes, it's a much softer bottom out. It's much more flexy. So if you typed on like a poly half plate or something along those lines, then this is like a way of getting a similar soft bottom out flexy typing experience while still using a rigid plate material like something like brass or aluminum. So it definitely does change the feel. It's a thing we're trying. I think it is a general change for the better, but hopefully 150 people are going to try it out, and at that point you'll be able to get a lot more than just my opinion on it.
Question for Zach from PolyZoo. Do you come from a product design background? And he thanks you for taking the time to answer the questions.
Oh, no, I don't. I come from a computer programming background. Has there been
Stephen? Go ahead.
Stephen Cortez. Has there been thought about a carrying case for Keycult boards? Yep.
Yep.
It's definitely one of the things that we've thought about, but we want to release things that we really like and think are really good. So we don't want to like our thing isn't just recreating the TX bag and having our logo on it. We want to, if we're going to make a carrying case, we want it to be something that we think is a genuine improvement to what is already out there, or at least offer something different, even if it's not, it doesn't need to be, that's not to say that the things available right now are bad, but we want something that offers something different than what's already available. We haven't come up with that yet, so it's not yet something that we are focusing on, but it's a thought. It's a thing we're thinking about. Rocking Dom, have you ever thought about making keycaps? Nope. Or well, do you mean, if you mean running keycap sets, we've thought about it. I'm not sure that we're ever going to. It just doesn't seem like the right thing for us to be focusing on. We rather focus on keyboards. There are a lot of really awesome vendors running like constant. There's so many vendors now, and they're all running great sets, and all of the sets are meeting MOQ, and like it doesn't seem like we're lacking vendors to run sets at the moment. So I don't know that that's something that we're going to focus on. If what you meant is making keycaps like Rama does, probably not, because I again don't think that there's anything that we would do differently than what Rama does. We did the Rama X Keycult keycaps because we think they're cool. It's a thing that I want. It's a thing that other people wanted. So we did it because we thought it was cool. And I think they're really well made and really well done. I don't see what we would do differently that would be an improvement. And I don't expect that will ever be a like core part of our business or anything like that. So it doesn't seem like, if that's what you meant by making keycaps, then probably not. We'll probably continue working with existing vendors like Rama, who are already doing an awesome job.
Yeah. Jwordfish asks, are there any layouts you're looking at right now that you haven't done yet?
1800 CP, I really like. There's also some cool sort of alternative 75% layouts that are getting more popular that I personally like. I was never really ever a huge fan of the kind of like brick 75 layout that's basically just like a 65 with an extra F-row right over the top. I don't know why. I always felt like it aesthetically looked really weird and unbalanced. So it's possible though that we do something that's like the Satisfaction 75, for instance, that has some separation between the F-row and the alphas or number keys or whatever. So yeah, that and the 1800, a compact 1800 are the two that I'm personally thinking about that are probably most likely.
Daredevil asks,
Daredevil.
Is it Daredevil or Daredevil? I like to think that it's Daredevil in my head. You can confirm which one it is. Daredevil on chat. Will part of our sales ever include a first come first serve raffle as well? As of now, no. That might change in the future. We feel like the way we're doing the raffles is the fairest for everyone. Someone else said that they're kind of bot prone, the first come first serve, and we haven't really found a way to prevent that. So until we do, or until we're selling enough quantity so that people don't have to buy it within a few seconds of us posting it, and there's like a fair chance for everyone, then we're probably going to stick with raffles.
Yeah.
So just keep trying your luck. We're definitely trying to up our quantities, and hopefully as the year goes on and as next year starts, you'll have a better chance.
Hey, both of us were wrong, George. It's neither Daredevil nor Daredevil. It's Daredevil.
Daredevil. Well, I was closer because yours had the I, and
we're both just wrong.
We're both wrong. How did we each get started in this? Zach roped me into it. Mostly. He came back home from a vacation and was like, "Let's do this," and I was like, "Yeah," because I'm a pushover. But how did you get started in this, Zach?
I was just a member of the community. So I mean, I got into keyboards because I saw basically a coworker who had a mechanical keyboard in like 2013 or something like that, and I fall pretty deeply into hobbies when I get into them. And
we both do.
Yeah, and so I have just been really into keyboards. I was really into collecting artisans for quite a long time. In 2017, I designed my first board and did a small private group buy. That was the original #1 10 keyless. And then in sort of late 2018, decided to try to turn it into a full-time thing and talk to George about it because I felt like I needed a partner in order to do it. I'm just the kind of person who I need help. I'm in order to stay motivated, in order to help with whatever various tasks. I just can't. I wouldn't be able to do this all by myself. So thankfully George was interested in it, and I was able to row him in, and that's how we got started. Weatherby says, "How do you feel about pineapple on pizza?" I am not.
I'm for it.
I am not for it.
I'm for it. I like Hawaiian pizza. I think that the ham and the cheese and the pineapple, the sweetness from the pineapple, and it adds a little bit of crunch too. It's culinary genius, in my opinion.
Nope. Perfect pizza is Italian sausage, basil, red onions, and feta cheese.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that pineapple pizza is perfect, but I'm saying that it's good.
Yeah, I'm just saying that my pizza is better.
All right, so people seem to disagree with Riot. I'm the best, so I have the best pizza taste.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll wait a few minutes to see if any other questions roll in, and if not, then we can sort of end the update.
We're getting some good questions in. Bathroom paper towards the room or the wall? I mean, oh, hey Chelsea.
Hey. Yeah. That's my wife, everyone.
and his dog. That's great.
And my dog.
It should be towards the room. It should be towards the room.
Toilet paper?
Yes.
It should be. Yeah. It should. I think it should be towards. I think it should be towards the wall. I guess it's like it should be facing yours. Like you should be able to reach out and pull it.
That's towards the room, right?
Oh, like, I'm guessing. I'm guessing towards
the wall.
So it would be perpendicular to you if it's towards the room, and if it's parallel to you, then it's towards the wall.
Yeah, over under. Over is towards the room. It should be over and.
Oh,
yeah,
then we are in
agreement.
What are our favorite keyboards besides hobbies?
Wait.
Photography for me.
Oh yeah.
Photography for me for sure. I take all of the Keycult pictures. And yeah, I've been into photography for a really long time, and videography. I'm getting into it, so I'm learning a lot.
For me, I guess I would say it's cocktails. I like making and mixing cocktails.
Makes a mean cocktail.
I feel like we're definitely slowing down in terms of
we're definitely slowing down.
Relevant questions. So let's say, are there any other questions that are more Keycult keyboard related, and a little less personal, because I want to make sure that we get through
everything.
Yeah. Do we have a percentage of keyboards that don't make it to A or B stock? Yes.
Yeah.
I guess we'd call that C, D, F stock.
We do have a few C stock boards.
We do have a few, and we're not quite sure yet what we are going to do with them. We might one possible option is selling them at some point in the future at a greater discount for people who want to like Cerakote, for instance. But it depends on what the issues are. Most of the issues are just like especially bad aesthetic issues that we're just not really happy having out in the wild. Are we looking to make Keycult a bigger team in the future? No idea. It totally depends on whether or not we are able to sustain ourselves just as the two of us. I wouldn't discount it, especially if logistics, packing, shipping, if that gets out of hand, then possibly having someone else around to help with that could be really useful. Thoughts on U.S. manufacturing?
Yeah.
So I have never. I don't think that the United States has the infrastructure needed to make manufacturing accessible for our market. So everything is it's like an order of magnitude more expensive than it needs to be. We're talking quotes at high volumes, quotes that are higher than the retail cost of the boards that we sell. We know that there are some people who have found U.S. manufacturers and have been able to sell things at a reasonable cost, but I have not yet seen a single example of one that where it was easy and a full success. I think everyone that I've seen, all keyboard projects that I've seen that used U.S. manufacturers had some number of issues. Norbauer, I don't think he did not make keyboards yet. He didn't actually machine keyboards. He did use a U.S. manufacturer for some amount of finishing, and I think that there might have been some issues with that. I think he did powder coating or something like that in the U.S. and he does his bags are done in the U.S. But something like that is it's a very different market from the actual keyboards themselves.
I guess Kiwi Ura, what's the mission statement of Keycult? And
our mission is stated
as follows. We will not be beat. Yeah. We're really big Office fans. Keycult does not have an official mission statement because we're just the two of us and we're pretty similar and we're really comfortable with each other. So
I would say that I mean if you wanted to get a sense of like what we stand for at the moment, it is making extremely high quality keyboards that people love.
Yeah. And also things that I'm like, personally for me, it's things that I am proud to put out there. That's kind of a big litmus test is like, is this something that I'll be proud of, that it's like out there in the wild? And that's a lot of what drives my, like when I'm doing QC, all this other stuff. It's like, hey, is this going to be something proud? Something that if someone takes a picture of it and posts it online, that I'm going to be proud to see out there. And that's my personal mission statement, I guess.
Weatherby asks if the trip to Shenzhen will help increase quality and reduce QC. I certainly hope so. I don't know that it's necessarily gonna increase quality. I hope that I will be able to impart some of our QC standard when I'm there, but we'll see what happens. We are going to have our manufacturer do more of the sort of like menial work that we did when we got boards in. And so a lot of what I'm going there to do is to make sure that all of that is still done correctly, and it's not work that we're going to have to redo. And we're still going to be QCing every board when it gets to us in the States, though. So. What do you think about Handerbite? I would not rock it on my keyboard.
Personally. Yeah, it's not really.
But I think it's a fun meme for
yeah,
for the right person. Kiwi asks, do we think keyboards can be improved in any major way? For example, the implementation of gaskets. I'm not sure. I'm not sure yet.
I mean, I'm sure that they can. I think that like as time goes by and as people experiment and as we experiment, things will get better. And I think that I'm a big believer that big change comes incrementally. So it's like, for example, like the leaf spring plates, that's like an incremental change that like paired with something in the future will make like a big difference, but it's just going to be seen as incremental because like one thing leads to another and leads to another. So but I think that those sort of like small changes kind of make a big difference in the aggregate, and that's where I think the big changes and the big improvements to keyboards are going to come from. Not so much like this is a brand new way of making keyboards. While that might come, it's a lot less likely than just a lot of little tweaks and changes to keyboards. So.
All right.
All right, I think that's like a good stopping point
Cool.
for the day.
Yeah, we're gonna stop answering personal questions for now, but we'll do more of these. We're gonna do a Q&A. I mean, another pre-order update and a Q&A like this every other week. So the next one should hopefully be on the 24th of August. Really appreciate everyone hanging out, asking questions. We're going to post this video on YouTube. The VOD will also be available on Twitch. And yeah, I guess that's about it.
Have a great night.
Cool.
Have a great night, everyone. Take care.
Bye-bye. Cool. I think that went well.
I think that